Unfortunately, Chicago crime continues to soar. So far this year, more than 100 murders and more than 600 shootings. So how are faith leaders in the community trying to fight this rising crime? Here to share his story is the senior pastor of Harvest Chicago West, John Kelly. John, thank you very much for joining us this morning. You've got your own personal story. You were involved in some crime, turned your life around, went into the community. As a pastor in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods of Chicago, what are you doing right now to try to address this problem?
Yeah, well, first, thanks so much for having me on this morning. One of the things that I'm trying to do personally, and also our church, is be intentional about being on the ground with the people. You know, you can provide resources in the community, which we desperately need, but, you know, you have a lot of fatherless homes. You have a lot of young men who have no guidance, and so even right now, our church currently meets at a high school, Michelle Clark High School on the west side in Austin. We were intentional about that because we wanted to reach the young men and women there. We also, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, we also partner with the police department in our the 15th district in our community, and they also give us the worst street corners in our neighborhood. And in the summertime, when we take those corners over with other churches, we go out there and pray, we talk to the young men, we connect with people in the community. And so one of the things we're trying to do right now is really be aggressive of being on the streets, being on ground level on the front line with the young men who are actually on the corner that are caught up in this violence.
Jonathan, obviously you were once convicted of third-degree murder, turned your life over, as you said. So you've got the personal experience. Hey, I turned my life around, you can too. But what I love about your story is you're out there on the streets. You're finding the 5 most dangerous street corners. What happens on those Wednesday nights when you partner with the police and you're on those street corners that are normally violent?
Yeah, you know, I think people are shocked. I think a lot of times a lot of people don't expect the pastor to be on the corner or people to be on the corner actually on the ground. But, you know, we don't get any pushback in any way. We get a ton of support from other churches, other businesses, men and women on the streets. A lot of people, even the law enforcement, have been very supportive of us. And it's been a good way of trying to help people get connected into the church, get connected to resources, and also understanding that there are people out there like them have been through the same thing, that have changed and turned their life around. And so it's been very impactful in a massive way.
Jonathan, President Trump talks a lot about the forgotten men and women of this country, and sometimes the assumption in the media is that he's talking about white working class voters only. I think part of what you're talking about is that forgotten man and woman in inner city Chicago who just wants a safe street and a good school and opportunities for their kids. What you're talking about is creating that environment. What more can or should be done by, say, leaders in Chicago or others to foster this? You're doing your part, but what more to foster an environment where opportunity is truly equal for at-risk kids and others?
Yeah, I would say 2 things. First off, only the gospel of Jesus Christ can take a dark heart that thinks it's okay to take another life and change it. And I think I'm a testimony of that. But also at the same time, Austin, the neighborhood we're in, here's another fact. The neighborhood of Austin that we're in, the unemployment rate last year was 21%. And so, I mean, that's some of the numbers near the Great Depression. And so you have people who have a lack of resources, a lack of economic opportunities, massive fatherlessness. And so all the things that would allow them to flourish are not available, yet there's a liquor store in every single corner. A young kid can get an assault rifle with ease. Everything that would destroy them is right at their fingertips. And so there needs to be resources provided into the neighborhood, jobs and economic opportunity without gentrification, but also coming alongside young men and women who are willing to be on the ground to come alongside of young people and show them how to live a productive life as well.
Such a great message. The police in your neighborhood, obviously there's been so much in this country talked about policing. You partner with them. Have you found them to be good partners in Chicago?
Yeah, I think there's a huge gap that the church can step into. Of being a good mediator between law enforcement and maybe some of the stain and pain that people in the community feel. And I think too often we get caught up in Twitter and Facebook and complaining when really we need to roll our sleeves up and get on the ground. And so I would say I haven't got any pushback from anyone in the community when someone comes in and says, I'm willing to help.
Heck of a lesson. John Kelly, pastor of Harvest Chicago West, thank you for being a part of the solution. We appreciate it, sir.